reads like an indictment against an out-of-control king.
Yes.
I commend all Americans, perhaps sometime tomorrow, I'm going to do this myself, read that document in its entirety.
Yes.
Come on, read it, read it.
And why was that indictment issued? I think it was because the framers of this great country, they were fed up with Project 1775. And so they implemented Project 1776. So I know that there are people concerned with what's happening in America, but understand what our journey teaches us is that after Project 2025 comes Project 2026. And you will have an opportunity to end this national nightmare.
Well, the national nightmare we've been living through just got a whole lot worse. Hi, my name is Suri Crow, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. So we have to get to work immediately to start mitigating the damage that Republicans just caused. You know, it doesn't really feel much like celebrating America's birthday. It feels more like, I don't know, Halloween, and I actually love Halloween, but Nightmare on, I don't know, Constitution Avenue, ugh. Awful. Republicans cheered wildly as they officially stripped away healthcare and food benefits for more than 17 million Americans.
Here we go.
On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
You know, they truly are ghouls. They're ghouls, nightmare ghouls. They're just despicable humans, if we can call them that, in liege to their dear leader. They bow down at the feet of the orange clown. Only 2 Republicans voted against the Trump MegaDeath bill. Pathetic. Here is a quick rundown on what this death bill that will very soon become law, if it isn't already, includes.
3 economists who are very, very high level. It was off the record. I can't say who it was, but these are people who know more than probably anybody how Republicans' death bill is going to actually affect Americans. And I took a bunch of notes in my car with like some junk mail that I had. Oh my God, you guys. I'm just going to read you the highlights of my notes because shit, it's bad. And so the SNAP cuts, first of all, biggest SNAP cuts in the history of the country by far, right? They're going to up work requirements. And normally, if there are no jobs in an area, they waive work requirements. But one of the things this bill does is say that you can't have that waiver unless unemployment is at 10%. That is unbelievably high for unemployment. So if you've just got like 9% or 8% unemployment, which is still shockingly high, you have to work or you lose your SNAP benefits. Stuff like that. There used to be an exception for single parents taking care of kids, but now if your kid is 14 or older, that exception no longer applies. Oh, and one of the ways they determine your eligibility for SNAP is whether or not you have internet. So if you're paying for internet, they consider that a luxury under this bill. It makes it less likely that you will qualify for SNAP. Okay, so the SNAP cuts are really dramatically large, but they were like the Medicaid cuts are so large, we don't know how to describe how large and what damage these cuts will do to this program. They were like, we've never seen anything like it by a long, long shot. They said the sort of consequences for our healthcare system are going to be so far reaching, way beyond just the people on Medicaid. It's going to hurt you, me, everybody in the healthcare system. And again, they talked about how work requirements are not designed to make people work because most people on Medicaid already work. They are designed to make you fall off of the program because you can't keep up with the paperwork and the red tape, especially if you don't have internet, which if you want SNAP, you can't have. I mean, you guys, this is some sinister shit. Said by conservative estimates, 15,000 people will die from not having coverage every year, which makes sense since 17 million people are going to lose their health insurance coverage. And then there's this cost sharing thing. So now on Medicaid, if you are making over $20,000 a year, so if you're in this little area where you're poor, but not like in the poorest, you have to cost share and pay about $1,000 a year of your own money for your healthcare. Rural hospitals, okay, so they gave $50 billion now for this Rural Hospital Stabilization Fund. So I asked a question, is that going to save rural hospitals? And the guy just looked at me and he said, It's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. They said this bill is going to drive up our cost of living almost across the board. Prices are going to go up across the board because of the bill. As far as jobs go, they said prior to this, the Biden administration passed the IRA and it was driving an American industrial renewal. They said for every $1 of government investment, private sector was putting in 6. This law undoes all of that. It's going to kill hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of jobs. They said not only is this bill not pro-growth, but a recession is much more likely as a result of them passing it. The fact that the dollar is off to its worst start of the year in more than a century, that is related to the passage of this bill. The bond market being super shaky, that's all because of this bill. They said that the maternal death rate is going to go way up because they defunded Planned Parenthood and because of all the hospitals that are going to close. They said not only will people die, pregnant women will die more. A lot of you have been asking me what it means that Republicans are saying that tax cuts for rich people would be permanent. So I asked them about that and they said yes, because when they passed their tax cuts in 2017, those sunsetted after 8 years. That's why we're here again. This time they want them to last forever. So all of the tax cuts that benefit the wealthiest people and corporations are permanent, but the ones that help the working class are gone after 3 years. And I'll just close by telling you what one of the people said who had a lot of experience with healthcare policy and the economy. At the end of the call, she said, and I wrote it down so I could quote her directly, "It's grimmer than you can possibly imagine."
I think it's important to point out again and again for the MAGA heads out there who may be watching or those in your life that this death bill does nothing to strengthen Medicaid or SNAP against fraud or waste. As per usual, Republicans are absolutely lying. They're lying through their teeth. How can you look for or be gainfully employed, look for a job or be gainfully employed if you don't have internet access? You can't. Internet is a necessity in this age. It is considered a necessity. That's why under the Biden administration, they worked so hard to expand internet access in rural areas and make it more affordable. Yet Republicans are so fucking evil. They noted that internet access is now a luxury. So they said if you can afford the internet, then there's no reason you need to be on SNAP. That is a trap they intentionally set to kick people off of SNAP. And it's the same with constantly requiring people to re-up and requalify for Medicaid. Have them apply every 6 months as opposed to qualifying once a year. So now you're submitting all this paperwork, which could inevitably get lost because we know what the Republicans and Doge has done. They've cut all of these federal positions, right? So now you no longer have people to process the paperwork. So people are going to fall off SNAP and Medicaid rolls. And that is exactly what Republicans want. It has nothing to do with people who are like grifting off the system. It means that those of us who are out here busting our asses, working 1 or sometimes 2 or even 3 jobs, are going to be thrown off Medicaid or SNAP benefits because of documentation and paperwork requirements, or because somebody, God forbid, has internet and they're just trying to keep food on the table for their kids. I mean, it is so fucking diabolical what Republicans have done. They disgust me. They want to wear people out until people give up or can't meet the requirements. The MegaDeath bill will also make it much more difficult to enroll in Obamacare, which is the same thing as the Affordable Care Act, and the subsidies that the Biden administration implemented to expand Obamacare that made it so much more affordable for millions of Americans. Last year, by the way, was a record year of employment for Obamacare enrollment. Those are going to be wiped out. That's what happened with this MegaDeath bill. That may be law by the time you see this video. And that's what they wiped out. So premiums for the ACA for Obamacare are going to skyrocket in about 2 years, as much as 75%. So this is the Republicans, Trump's way to just gut Obamacare too, because they're racist a-holes. They just, anything to hurt the working people and to hammer away at the good things that President Obama and President Biden did. The bill also takes a sledgehammer to all of the clean energy tax credits that President Biden added through his Inflation Reduction Act. Those tax credits and the money through the Inflation Reduction Act created hundreds of thousands of green jobs, you guys, and was starting to help make us competitive with the rest of the world, including China, which has moved on to green energy and away. They're moving away from fossil fuels. Oh, no. But Donald Trump wants to take us back to the coal mining days. He and the Republicans are completely in the pockets of the deadly fossil fuel industry. So this MegaDeath bill rolls back pretty much all of the policies and support that supported clean energy credits for wind and solar power. So if you were adding solar panels to your home or wind power or something, in 2 years, now what Republicans have done, they've added a tax on that. Same thing for EV vehicles, which is why Elon Musk is so pissed about it. And then here's Pennsylvania Congressmember Mary Gay Scanlon on the devastation that this is going to cause just her district alone.
Provisions in this big ugly bill are no better. It represents a near total rollback of the historic investments in clean energy and environmental protection that we enacted in the Inflation Reduction Act. These cuts are going to jeopardize 1.75 million good-paying construction jobs and billions of dollars in private sector investment that is growing our economy now with solar, wind, and hydroelectric projects. We're slamming the brakes with this bill on some incredible economic growth and ceding energy dominance to China. Also, our Republican colleagues can placate their fossil fuel donors. This bill is a brazen handout to polluters. It has sweetheart deals for the oil, coal, and gas industries that read like they were written by lobbyists. It mandates lease sales in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, threatening one of the last truly pristine ecosystems on Earth. It opens 4 million acres of public land to coal mining and slashes royalty rates, a direct subsidy to the oil and gas industry. And household energy costs are going to go up as a result of this bill. This bill not only repeals clean energy tax credits for wind and solar, but imposes a steep excise tax on any new wind or solar project that doesn't comply with restrictions that are designed to be impossible to meet. This is a particular burden on Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania's legislature recently passed a law to help our schools convert to solar energy using some of the credits in the Inflation Reduction Act. And this was viewed as a win-win-win-win because it was good for our construction folks. It was good for our school districts because it was lowering their costs of construction and of energy costs moving forward. And of course, it was good for folks who are concerned about the environment. So it was a broadly bipartisan bill.
Lastly, and I think this is something that we have not heard enough about either, is the insane expansion of ICE under this bill. As Mikel Jolette pointed out, I don't think we're talking enough about how this big, dumb, ugly bill expands ICE by a factor of 20, from $2.2 billion to $45 billion. That is 20 times more agents, 20 times more arrests, plus illegal detention centers like Alligator Alcatraz. Trump is using the bill to create his own paramilitary Gestapo. This should send chills down everybody's spine. These Nazi maniacs are going to build concentration camps in every state. I mean, Trump's already admitted it. He wants alligator Alcatrazes everywhere. And they're going to have a militarized army going after anybody who dissents. Today, it's the undocumented. But remember, at first it was like, oh, we're just going after the criminals. They freaking lie. They are pathological liars. But as the sick and twisted Nazi lover Laura Loomer posted the other day on X, here's the real plan. She writes, alligator lives matter. The good news is alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now. So if you can't read between the lines of her sick tweet, this is what she means. She's referring, of course, to Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. And what she's saying is that they can feed the alligators the 65 million Latinos who live in the United States. Not just the undocumented. She's talking about all of the Latinos, all of the Hispanics, the entire Latino population in America. That's their plan, is to clear out all the brown people. Hello, wake up. Cubans and Latinos and Venezuelans and Mexicans for Trump. They hate you. They want you gone. Okay? That's what she's talking about. I mean, it is disgusting. She and Stephen Miller, by the way, are both Jewish, and they are proof positive that you can literally turn into the evil enemy of your ancestors, because she's basically talking about, she's calling for, in a joking term, like a wipeout of all of the brown people in America. I mean, and she's a Jew. It is just freaking appalling. So there you go. If you voted for Trump and you're in the Latino population, wake the F up. They hate you. And they used you to get him into power, and they have no intention of leaving. And they want to clean everything out and make it a white patriarchal society where anybody who dissents is thrown into one of their fucking concentration camps. And for all of you who couldn't wait to own the libs and voted for Trump, well, you just voted away your own damn healthcare. Like this lady, ultra mega lady Suzanne, who put this post out the other day. I voted for Donald Trump to piss off liberals. It was hilarious. But this bill they're trying to pass will take away my Medicaid. I have type 2 diabetes with diabetic retinopathy. If I can't afford my medicine, I will lose my vision. And I'm scared. I'm in tears and need urgent help. Well, her tweet went pretty damn viral. And she got a lot of replies. And I think she eventually deleted it. But now her Medicaid is going bye-bye. Bye-bye, ultra mega lady. So she didn't care who her vote hurt as long as it was owning the libs. Alas, now her vote came back to hurt her. Now she voted, she risked her own health, her own blindness, possibly losing a foot or something like that, just to own the freaking libs. Like, how freaking pathetic. But this is what hatred does to people. And I fear this will be the plight of millions of MAGA heads. But we must remind them in 2 years, when all of these provisions start to take place, because Republicans made sure that none of this happened before the midterm, so they could say, oh, no, we didn't touch Medicaid or SNAP or la, 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 la. Yes, they damn sure did. And when the fallout begins to happen, we need to remind them that Democrats or those on the pro-democracy side had nothing to do with this. We warned you. We warned y'all that this would happen. But your vote, your propensity for hatred, well, you cut your damn nose off to spite your face. And now we're all going to suffer, except for the billionaires and the decamillionaires. So we have a very serious reckoning to make as a country. Like I said, I don't really feel like celebrating America's birthday at all, because I'm pretty sure this is what the framers did not want for us. But I'm going to hold on to, well, now we move into Project 2026, because things cannot stay the way they are, because this is bad. So I'll leave you with the closing remarks of Hakeem Jeffries when he did his record-breaking Magic Minute speech on the floor. And he quoted the eternal words of the late and very great John Lewis.
Will give people some hope. Great John Lewis said, do not get lost in a sea of despair. Come on. Be hopeful.
Say his word.
Be optimistic.
Yeah.
Our struggle is not the struggle of a day,
Not one day.
a week, a month, or a year.
That's right.
It is the struggle of a lifetime. That's our struggle. No matter what, Mr. Speaker, you decide to do today, that's our struggle. Standing on the shoulders of John Lewis, that's our struggle. Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get into good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. Necessary trouble.
So I hope y'all are ready to get into some good and very necessary trouble, because we have a hell of a fight in our future. It's time for us to dig in hard, okay?
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.